Hare Krishna. Pranam, everyone. So welcome for this Gita session. And we have been doing chapter number 3. And today we are supposed to do verse number 25, correct? 25. Am I correct? So please switch on your videos. Humble request to everyone. Where is Manju Mata today? Okay, please recite after me. Verse number 25, chapter number 3. Okay. सक्तः कर्मणि अविद्वांसो यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत सक्तः कर्मणि अविद्वांसो यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्यात् विद्वांस तथा आसक्तः चिकीर्षु लोकसंगम् सक्ता कर्मणि अविद्वांसो यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्यात् विद्वांस तथा आसक्तः चिकीर्षु लोकसंग्रहम्. Word by word meaning is like this. Saktaha, being attached. Karmani, in prescribed duties. Avidvamshaha, the ignorant. Yatha, as much as. Kurvanti, they do. Bharata, O descendant of Bharata. Kuryat, must do. Vidwan, the learned. Tatha, thus. Asaktaha, without attachment. Chikirshu, desiring to lead. Lok Sangraham, the people in general. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki Jai. As the ignorant perform their duties with attachment to results, the learned may similarly act but without attachment, for the sake of leading people on the right path. Please repeat after me. As the ignorant perform the duties with attachments to the results, the learned may similarly act but without attachment, for the sake of leading people on the right path. Purport. A person in Krishna consciousness and a person not in Krishna consciousness are differentiated by different desires. Okay. A Krishna conscious person does not do anything which is not conducive to development of Krishna consciousness. I repeat, a Krishna conscious person does not do anything which is not conducive to development of Krishna consciousness. He may even act exactly like the ignorant person who is too much attached to material activities. But one is engaged in such activities for the satisfaction of his sense gratification, whereas the other or the Krishna conscious person is engaged for the satisfaction of Krishna. Therefore, the Krishna conscious person is required to show the people how to act and how to engage the results of action for the purpose of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada ki jai. Very nice verse. So, we have been discussing this chapter. Krishna in the beginning described what is Karma Yoga. Then he described that anyone who has material desires should perform his prescribed duties, but keeping Krishna in the center, okay, without attachment. And then he said, while for a devotee, for a Krishna conscious advanced devotee, he is not obliged to perform prescribed duties. Why? Because he doesn't want anything from this material world. A devotee does not desire anything from this material world, so he is not obliged to perform prescribed duties, but he still performs. Why? To guide other common people, to set a good example that while in the household life as a grahastha, we can perform devotion as well as perform our material prescribed duties. Okay. And then Krishna gave example of Janak Maharaj and then himself. In the last verse we discussed, Krishna himself doesn't want anything in this material world, isn't it? Everything belongs to Krishna. With one side glance of Krishna, everything can get destroyed, or everything can get manifested in this material world. He is not expected to do, but he still performs prescribed duties in this material world. Correct? And we discussed in the previous verse, Krishna said if he doesn't perform, then people will follow him. And then everybody will be on the wrong path. To set good example, he performs all prescribed duties. Like he performed his duties in Vrindavan as a Vaishya. When he was in Dwarka, he performed all his duties as a king, Dwarkadhish. But sometimes we see even Krishna violate some of his principles. Have you seen? Can somebody give example? You can raise your hand and I can unmute. Unmute करके हाथ खड़ा कीजिए. Then I'll unmute. Who wants to speak? Okay. So sometimes Krishna doesn't follow because of two reasons. One, Krishna has variety of relationships in which he exchanges rasa with his devotees. In the spiritual world, Krishna exchanges rasa with his devotees primarily in 5 ways. What are these? The first one is called Shanta Rasa, or rasa in neutrality. Shanta Rasa. All should note down. Please make notes. Making notes is a good habit of a student. A good student will always write down all the highlights of the lecture. He can revise quickly later on. Don't trust your memory. The first one is Shanta Rasa. Second one is Dasya Rasa. Third one is Sakya Rasa. Fourth one is Vasalya Rasa. And fifth one is Madhurya Rasa. Like in spiritual world, everything is conscious all trees, flowers, water, air, everything is conscious, unlike material world. Milk is also conscious. Stone is also conscious in spiritual world. So exchanging rasa in neutrality or shanta rasa means there's appreciation of Krishna, but not much of service, like trees, flowers. And second is little higher level, which is called dasya rasa. In the mood of a servant, serving Krishna in the mood of a servant, which is our constitutional position. Jivere Surupa hai Nitya Krishna Das. In most religions across the universe, most people serve the Supreme Lord in this rasa. They treat God as master and they treat themselves as servant. Yeah, not beyond this. In most religions. But Krishna has a speciality. What is speciality? Krishna can exchange rasa the way devotee wants. If devotee wants to be friend with Krishna, Krishna is ready to reciprocate in that relationship as a friend. It is called Sakhya Rasa, wherein both are equal, right? No servant-master relationship. One is servant, one is master. One is servant. In Dasya Rasa, one is master, one is servant. In Sakhya, both are equal. Correct? Like in Vrindavan, all the Brajavasis or cowherd boys, they used to go with Krishna to graze cows. They used to play with him. They used to, Krishna will climb on his shoulders. They will climb on Krishna's shoulder. They'll play different games, hide and seek. They'll sit together and eat prasadam. They'll share prasadam. This is Sakhya Rasa. Right? So Krishna is ready to come at level with, at par with his devotees and exchange rasa in Sakhya Bhav, in the mood of a friend. Okay, when both are equal. Arjuna was, for example, exchanging rasa with Krishna in Sakhya Bhav. Okay. Now, higher than this is Vatsalya Rasa. What is Vatsalya Rasa? Wherein Krishna is ready to even bring his position lower than the devotee. It doesn't happen anywhere. Krishna is ready to be protected by his devotee. Krishna is ready to be maintained by his devotee, like Yashoda. That's why Krishna is very unique in his relationship with different devotees. That's why people can't understand him clearly. How can this small boy be Krishna? Why? Because he is playing the role of a son. He is exchanging Vatsalya Rasa with his mother Yashoda or Devaki or Nanda Baba. He is allowing them to rule his son or her son. Maintain. So Yashoda Maya used to, recite prayers for the protection of Krishna, who protects everything, who is the most benevolent protector of the entire creation. Yashoda is praying to protect Krishna. Yashoda is telling Krishna, Krishna, eat something, otherwise you will die. Krishna, kha le kuch nahi to mar jayega. This is the mood of a devotee. When Krishna goes out, Yashoda Maya is worried. Oh, he's in jungle. There are so many, violent animals in jungle. She is worried till the time he comes back. See, she doesn't know Krishna is, Supreme Lord. She doesn't want to know Krishna is Supreme Lord. Loving relationship is far overpowering, that devotee and master relationship. So this is Vatsalya Bhav. And the fifth one, which is even higher than this, on a spiritual platform, not on mundane material platform, is Madhurya Rasa. relationship of a lover and beloved. It is even higher, like gopis and Krishna. So Krishna is dealing with the unlimited jivas, unlimited what you call living entities in material world, in spiritual world, in the mood they want to deal with him. In the room you are sitting currently, how many living entities are there? Tell me. संजय माली प्रभु आपके रूम में कितने लिविंग एंटिटीज है बताइए
प्रभु जी बता नहीं सकता बहुत सारे हैं
हाँ बहुत सारे हैं so there are unlimited living entities in your room just imagine how many living entities in the whole of material world one brahmanda how many living entities in millions of brahmandas universes how many living entities in spiritual world Vaikuntha, then Golok Vrindavan. And Krishna is dealing uniquely with every living entity. This is Krishna. We can't deal with 4 family members at the same time. Can we? If you're playing with son, you can't sit with wife. If you're sitting with wife, you can't give time to children. If you're sitting with wife or children, you can't give time to parents. Correct? But Krishna can give himself 100% to every individual living entity. That's why Krishna only can satisfy. Nobody else can satisfy us. Only Krishna can satisfy because he can give himself completely to everyone, every individual. So he is dealing with so many people in so many relationships. Sometimes to please devotees, he violates his principles. Or for a larger purpose, he violates. For example, Krishna came as Lord Buddha and said Vedas are wrong, don't follow Veda. Should we follow Buddha? He is the Supreme Lord, he is the incarnate Supreme Lord. Should we follow him or not? Should we follow the philosophy Lord Buddha propagated? Yes or no? Yes, Mamta Mataji? He is the Supreme Lord, incarnate Supreme Lord. Should we follow him? No. She's saying no. So whenever there is a discrepancy between Krishna's actions and words in Vedas, we should follow Vedas. Whenever there is discrepancy. For example, in Govardhan Leela, Krishna propagated a philosophy called as Mimamsa, Karma Mimamsa. Karma Mimamsa means everything is controlled by our karma. There is no Supreme Lord. If you क्या बोलते हैं उसको जैसा बोओगे वैसा खाओगे. God can't do anything. Your karma does everything. Whatever you do, you will get in return. There is no role of God in this. So they don't to follow God. This is Karma Mimamsa philosophy. So Krishna propagated that just to convince his father, Baba, you're doing everything now. So you'll get rains. You're doing all the yagyas. Indra has no control over the rain. Based on your karma, you will get rains. Indra can't do anything. So Krishna propagated a philosophy which is not right. Just to convince, just to serve some certain purpose. A second is Krishna lifted Govardhan. Can anybody lift Govardhan? Any one of us? We can't. Right? So this is sometimes Krishna does unusual things for people who do not believe in him. Who do not trust, in terms of who Krishna is. So he'll do something unusual. So sometimes Krishna violates for the pleasure of devotees for a specific rasa or to just make a point that Krishna is not like any one of us, an ordinary human being. He is God. Larger point is whenever we have to follow between Krishna's sometimes actions or Krishna's instructions, we should follow Krishna's instructions, not his actions. We shouldn't try to imitate what Krishna did. We should try to follow what Krishna said. Correct? We should not imitate him. We cannot imitate anyway. We can't lift Govardhan, even if we try to. Some people try to imitate Krishna, saying Krishna played with gopis, so why not we? If he can play with so many women, why can't we play? But before playing with gopis, he lifted Govardhan. If you can lift Govardhan, you can play also. है ना? We can't lift Govardhan, so we have no right to play. So we can't imitate what Krishna did. We should follow what Krishna said, in terms of his instructions in Gita and Bhagavatam. Okay. So that was the previous verse. In the today's verse, Krishna is telling difference between a person who is attached to the results and person who is not attached to the results. Person who is attached and a person who is not attached. सक्तः कर्मणि अविद्वांशो अविद्वान एक अविद्वान है एक विद्वान है ना. Avidwan means somebody who is attached to the results of his actions. Avidwan, ignorant, foolish. And Vidwan means who is not attached to the results of his action. Vidwan, he understands the philosophy, he has the right knowledge, and he acts according to the knowledge. Books are the basis. Scriptures are the basis for actions. So he's saying a devotee and a non-devotee both may seem same externally. Right? Both are doctors, both are going to clinic, both are treating patients, both are writing prescriptions. So what is the difference? क्या अंतर है दोनों में? Two engineers, both are engineers, both go to factory, both have their workers, both instruct their workers, both produce some products. What is the difference? Same. Two teachers, both are same. Go to school, they teach students and get salary. क्या अंतर है दोनों में? So externally, a devotee and a non-devotee may look exactly same. The difference is in terms of consciousness, Chetana. There's no other difference. This is internal. So they are attached externally. They're doing everything which a common person does, but they're detached internally. This is devotee. A devotee is externally attached, but internally he is completely detached from the results of his action. Internally, he is doing everything for the satisfaction of Krishna, while a non-devotee, internally or externally, doing everything only for the satisfaction of his senses, nothing else. That is the difference. A non-devotee is attached externally and internally. A devotee is attached externally. That's why he is able to do, but detached internally. This is the way one should live his life. Why? Why detachment to the result is important? Anyone? We have discussed many times. Why one should not have attachment to the fruits of his action, the results of his action? What is the problem? Haath khada kijiye, then I'll unmute. Anyone who wants to speak, please raise your hand. Okay, Mamta Mataji. Yes.
Prabhuji, it leads to bondage and karmic circle.
Very
A
good.
cycle.
It leads to bondage and karmic reaction. If you want to do something for yourself, then you have to pay the price also. You have to be responsible for all the sins which may have been done while doing that action. Second is, attachment to the result puts us in the position of master, not servant. We think we are master. We think we are enjoyer. We think we are proprietor. We think we are controller. And immediately our consciousness is what? This everything is for me. Aham mameti. Everything belongs to me. Everything is for my pleasure. The moment you have attachment to the result, the moment you have detachment from the result, you think everything is for Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. Krishna is a controller. Krishna is an enjoyer. I am only a mere servant. है ना? आपके घर में कोई नौकर है, उसका आपके टीवी से कोई अटैचमेंट नहीं है कि नहीं? आपकी कार से कोई अटैचमेंट नहीं है, हालांकि घर में ही रहता है, वो चलाता भी होगा, but he has no attachment. Why? He knows that this car, this house, this building, belongs to you, my master, not to me. Correct? So in our houses, we should live like servants, not like masters. Your master is sitting in an altar, not you. That is the mood you stay. हम बाहर नाम लिखते हैं, Madan Govind Das, as if this house belongs to Madan Govind Das. No, this house belongs to Vrindavaneshwar, not Madan Govind Das. So in the house, we should stay like servant. That is possible only when we are detached, not attached. The difference between devotee and non-devotee is this. Devotee is non-detached, completely detached from his possessions, from the results of his actions. For example, Duryodhan and Arjun. Both are fighting battle. Both are carrying, weapons. Both are on the chariots. Both are killing. Both are getting angry while on the battlefield. Antar kya dono mein? Difference in terms of consciousness. One is fighting battle for kingdom. One is fighting battle to please Krishna. Internally, Arjuna is detached from the result of this battle. Duryodhan is externally or internally completely attached to the result of the action, this battle. Yes or no? Correct? Who is happier? One who is detached. Why? Because what doesn't happen, it doesn't matter what is the result of the action. Doesn't matter. Good or bad, the devotee is stable. On the other hand, a non-devotee is always oscillating between, happiness, sorrow, happiness, sorrow, happiness, sorrow, happiness, pleasure, pain, pleasure, pain, pleasure, pain, pleasure, pain. Why? The result is not in his hand and always will not be good. Sometimes will be good, sometimes will be bad. So detachment brings peace of mind. Result तो जो आना वही आएगा. ऐसा नहीं कि हमारे attachment result बदल जाएगा. It doesn't mean that if you are attached to the result will change. Result will be the same, but you will be peaceful. A devotee will be peaceful. Now tell me, how do you make out one is attached or detached? बताइए. Two businessmen, both having a factory, both having a lot of workers, both earning a lot of money. How do you make out who is attached, who is detached? Anyone? Dr. Vishwas Prabhu. How do you make out who is attached, who is detached?
Prabhuji, the one who gives all the credit to Krishna, whatever good is happening in his business is detached.
And if bad is happening, then?
Then also he is detached. He's God's will. He thinks like it's God's will.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, Dr. Vishwas. Yes, Nidhi Mata.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, the one who is stable and unwavered in any situation, whether it is bad or good, then only externally we can make out if the businessman is having losses, even if then he is stable, and if he is
How will he may have lost once in a year, right? So you have to wait to find out whether they attached or detached only during that time. No. And on an ongoing basis, how do you make out one is detached or attached? Very simple test. Very simple test. Hanji? Sunil Prabhu?
Puji, in good or bad, the person remains composed all the time. Is all the same every time. That is what I thought.
Okay, but you have to wait for bad to happen to find out whether he is
No, but good also, no, Puji. We don't become extremely happy and
very practical. That's something very externally he may sound also okay, I am composed. अंदर से उसका हृदय टूट गया है लेकिन बाहर से is trying to pose that nothing has happened. What is the practical test to see one is attached or detached? See, the result of his action is what finally? Money. Isn't it? Money. Money is honey. Where is he using his money? Is the only test. Where is he using? Is he using this money to buy bigger cars, bigger houses for sense gratification, or is he using this money for the service of Krishna? That is the only test. Where do we use his money? Some people think if I give 1% out of my salary, of my profit, I am a very noble person. I am a great devotee. No. He has only 1% attachment, 99% attachment. Correct? So this mindset of the consciousness, this money does not belong to me. This money belongs to the person who enabled me to earn this money, Supreme Lord. So this money has to be used in his service. In his service means to propagate Krishna consciousness, to propagate this knowledge. If one is engaging his hard-earned money for these purposes, only reflects that he is detached. If this money is being used for sense gratification, different ways, buying, very expensive clothing, buying expensive, other things, gadgets, it reflects I'm very attached. I'm using this money for sense gratification, not for service. And what is the benchmark for this? Prabhupada normally talks about Srila Rupa Goswami. He set a benchmark for grastas. I have shared earlier also. Sometimes it doesn't sound realistic, but it is very realistic. One should aspire to, follow that benchmark, the standard. So Rupa Goswami was very rich. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, they were prime minister and finance minister in Nawab, kya tha unka naam? Nawab Hussain Shah. That time, who was ruling Bengal during those times. And they earned huge money in terms of gold coins. So when both of them met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they decided to renounce, to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to come to Vrindavan. And how did he divide his asset, his wealth? You want to know? Who all want to know? And follow this benchmark. अब हाथ नीचे हो गया. लर्न तो कर लेंगे बाबूजी, फॉलो थोड़ा मुश्किल है. Learning is okay, following is a challenge. See, a brahmachari sannyasi gives his 100%. Correct? Gives his life. He gives 100%. Why should not Gasta give 50% at least? Which is what Rupa Goswami did. He divided his income in such a way that 50% to serve Krishna and his devotees, 25% for family, and 25% for exigencies, for emergencies. कैसे divide किया प्रफुल्ल प्रभु? Tell everybody, how did you divide? अनम्यूट करके बताइए.
हाँ प्रभु जी.
हाँ बताओ.
अभी तुम्हें.
How did he divide his wealth?
How?
हरे कृष्णा.
प्रभु जी एक बार क्वेश्चन वापस बोलिएगा.
रूप गोस्वामी ने अपनी जायदाद को कैसे बांटा? In what proportion he divided?
आइडिया नहीं है प्रभु जी.
अच्छा, सुना नहीं लगता आपने. Anyone else who heard? Mukul Prabhu, finance guy. He must have heard very attentively.
What we did here is 50% for the devotee and the Krishna consciousness, and 25% for the family and 25% for the exigencies.
So this is the standard. which is still half of what brahmachari gives or the sannyasi gives, 100%, right? So we should aspire to reach that standard gradually. Then we can be called as detached. Then we can become peaceful. Otherwise, we'll remain anxious all the time. Anxiety will not leave us. So Rupa Goswami set a standard for grahasthas, how to, remain a detached grahastha life. Okay. So the difference between vidwan and avidwan, ignorant and intelligent is this. Intelligent person is completely detached from the result, whereas an ignorant person or a foolish person is completely attached. We should remember this detachment brings us peace and finally, association of Krishna, right? We give this material wealth and we get the real wealth in terms of Krishna himself. It is not a bad deal, trust me. It is not a bad deal. Krishna is the proprietor of this entire creation. If you have Krishna, then you have everything. Yes or no? Might sound theoretical, but that is the reality. Once one king on his birthday called his subjects, okay, I'll give some gift to everyone. I have told this earlier also. So सब लोग गए राजा के दरबार में on his birthday. He asked everyone, what do you want on my birthday? Somebody said, I want a tractor for my field. Somebody said, I want my house to be repaired. I want some cows. I want this. I want that. Different people, desire different material objects. One of them, when he was asked, what do you want? The person said, no, I want anything. You just become my friend. That's it. I want your friendship. I don't want anything from you. So he desired friendship with the king. Nothing else, nothing material. So everybody said he's a foolish number one. He had great opportunity, but he didn't ask anything. Actually, he was the most intelligent, we'll realize. So we're trying to understand the difference between Vidwan and Avidwan. Everybody wanted some material benefit from king, and this one person did not want, he wanted friendship of the king. After 6 months, minister reminded king, you promised friendship to that person, but what have you done for that person? King realized, yes. So we'll go to his house. Okay. So before he went, he sent his ministers, go and find out everything is okay before I come. So ministers went to his house. His house was very small, like kutia, and there was no access to go to his house. And his family were wearing very dirty, torn clothing, and there was nothing to eat in the house. So ministers came back and had a discussion. Okay, how do we take king to this place, dirty place? So before king could come, they built a new house for this person. They gave new clothing. They gave a lot of money. They built a passage from the palace to this kutia so the king can go very easily to this place. So practically they gave that person everything. So without asking, he got everything. Much beyond what everybody else got. Because he desired friendship with the king. A friendship with the king who owns everything. Who is a controller, proprietor of that kingdom. So if you have friendship with the Lord, or you are in love with the Lord, a servant of the Lord, you get everything. So this small sacrifices we should not mind doing. Anyway, this will go one day. Yes or no? We may be very attached. One day we have to, in one moment, everything will be smashed. In one moment. Right? So detached person means so strongly believes that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord, everything is for the pleasure of Supreme Lord, not for my sense gratification. And in this process, he is liberated. Because there is no attachment, there is no karam bandhan. Isn't it? So it's 9:50 already. Okay, so you understand difference between intelligent and not intelligent, between Vidwan and Avidwan, or a intelligent or foolish, ignorant person. Yeah. So most people are ignorant, are Vidwan, in the category of Vidwan. We think everything belongs to me, it is for my enjoyment, for my pleasure, and they get stuck, can't go out. Okay, so we'll stop here. If you have any question, we have 8-9 minutes for discussion. You can ask. Contemplate on what we discussed today. It is very practical. So when you give charity, you get detached from money. One who does not give charity, he is very attached to money. When you give something from hand, no, from that thing you become detached. So we should be very, Chanakya Pandit said, 3 things we should do, 3 things we should not do. I have discussed earlier also. And 3 things we should do, one is we should chant as much as possible, we should give charity as much as possible. And we should study Shastras as much as possible. There is no limit. इससे ज़्यादा नहीं करना है. 3 things we should never be satisfied. 1 with charity, 1 with study of Shastras, and 1 in chanting the holy name. And 3 things we should always be satisfied. क्या है वो चीजें? 3 things we should be always satisfied. What are these 3 things? Anyone? If you remember. किसको याद है? Yes, Sanjay.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी 2 ही याद है,
बताओ.
फूड एंड स्पाउस.
हाँ, food, spouse, and money. Whatever you get out of providence, be satisfied. ठीक है? Spouse, whatever comes in front of you to eat, and whatever money you get, be satisfied. You will remain peaceful. And don't be satisfied in 3 things: charity, study of Shastras, and chanting of the holy name. We should have greed to do more. Then we'll be detached completely. There was this fruit vendor. टोकरी में फल लेके बेचते हैं. She went to Krishna. Krishna was like maybe 1 or 2 years old. Krishna wanted to buy some fruit. Buy matlab trading. There was no currency that time. It was barter system. So you give grain and she will give fruit. So Krishna, his tiny hand brought maybe few grain particles. वो भी हाथ से फिसल गए सब. By the time he reached fruit vendor. And fruit vendor saw he had nothing to give, but she still gave all the fruits to Krishna. Because she fell in love with Krishna. The moment she saw Krishna, she liked him very much. She loved Krishna. She gave everything. You take. Don't worry. I don't need grains. You take. The moment she gave all the fruits, her tokri became very heavy. And when she opened the tokri and saw all jewels inside the tokri. So in return, Krishna filled her basket with jewels. She gave fruits and Krishna gave jewels. Sudama gave a handful of rice and Krishna gave a big palace, ornaments, nokar, chakor, everything. So there is no incident in the history where somebody gave Krishna something and he became poor. No, he became filthy rich. So by giving Krishna, no one becomes poor. Okay, so there is no loss in giving Krishna. So there is no loss in detachment. That is the message today. And the only way for detachment is give Krishna. Use it in Krishna's service. And remain peaceful. Yes, sorry. Any comment, remark, or question? If anyone has, you can ask. No question. Today is Vishwas Prabhuji's son's birthday. So congratulations, Prabhuji. Right? So we can chant the holy name once. So he also becomes a wonderful devotee like Dr. Vishwas Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Please convey our wishes. Okay. Take care. So we'll close. 11 o'clock, there's another session. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakti ki jai. Thank you very much. See you next week, Sunday.